So welcome, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to greet you on our session that is devoted to the scientific research of the unique topic that's totally unknown to the whole world. So today we are going to make a research according to the question, what's the absolute real origin of the warrior system, of any warrior system actually, that had ever taken its place in the earth? So today we're going to discuss and to see what's the truth that's been revealed throughout centuries and what is the real origin, what's the real source out of which all warrior systems have come. So today I'm pleased to greet our Chief Director of the Austrian Scientific Research Institute, the United Society of Russian Science in Europe, Oleg Maltsev. He is going to be the great consultant, and as he is a great scientist who deals with the Slavic Aplied Science, today he is the leader of this scientific research. So please, may you speak.
Исследование происхождения воинского искусства на Земле. Давайте с вами, так сказать, разбираться в этом вопросе.
Welcome to our research that's devoted to the question, what's the origin of the warrior art and the warrior system? So first of all, it's kind of specific item to know what is the notion of the warrior art. So what's the meaning of this expression, warrior system or warrior art? When did this notion take place? Why did it appear at all? So sometimes it is said that warrior art is like some kind of special system that has a set of instruments that is applied by a person, by a warrior, in order to win. In order to win in some kind of duel. But actually, when we are thinking over this notion, lots of diversities may appear. That is, all people share different points of view and they may right. And that's the problem. That's why, first of all, we have to strictly understand what's the meaning of this expression. Moreover, when we are talking about certain warrior system, it doesn't mean always that two people have met each other and just stage of striking each other totally, like, 1, 2, 3, boom, someone has fallen out and that's it. Someone won while one is the winner while the other is the loser. It's not like that. It's not always some kind of situation that involves physical influence. Yes, this duel may take place, but also some part of intellectual duel may take place also. That is, let me say, in a piece of advocacy, there is some part of intellectual duel, and this also could be the part of warrior system. Because, let me say, such a branch of science as strategy is applied both in business and advocacy and in the warrior system. So the warrior system itself is kind of very important notion for us to be understood, because actually it has taken its place due to certain vivid reasons and due to certain vivid phenomena. And trying to reveal the origin of these phenomena, we are trying to reveal the whole universe, the way of the world that stands out right now and in the world of which we are living right now. So during this session and during this research, we are going to see what's the origin, what's the phenomena of the warrior system means, and why should we actually, but the notion we, I mean everybody, why should we know all these things and how could we apply it in our practical life? Actions get done like that. System would mean that here we're dealing with the art of winning in a duel. By saying duel, we don't usually mean that there are two people meeting each other trying to win. It could also take some other situations, like when one is against 100 people, or let me say in the history there are lots of examples when less numerous army took the revenge out of the quite superior numerous army, like 300 Spartan warriors were just the greatest winners throughout the 2 billion people army that was the Persian army. That is, here actually by the warrior system, according to the contemporary level of perception, any kind of usual average person may say that this is a system that helps you to win in a physical duel, either in the armored duel or in some sort of fisticuffs when you're trying to win with your bare hands. That is, right now, according to the world where we are living, we are dealing with the physical notions. That's why here we're dealing with physical appliances, like different sorts of armor, or without physical appliances if we don't have them, just like when we're acting with bare hands. So according to the 5 periods of degradation, here we may see quite clearly, according to the instrument that shows us 5 periods in which the capabilities of human were changing quite much, the contemporary way of warrior art took its place and took its origin only in the 4th period of degradation, that is not so far ago. So here we deal with such levels as distance and pivots. That is, here a person haven't fallen down on dependence of the distances and of the pivots, you know, the level of distances and the level of speeds. that take place in human's life. So when a person cannot handle any speed, he feels dependent over the speed. That's why here he needs someone to prevent that dependence, not to be hit too much as against this obstacle. So this is the reason that caused the appearance of the armor and different varieties of armor. So here, quite logically, that the contemporary warrior system, is it a C right now according to the instrument, took its origin in the 4th period of degradation. So right now it's quite obvious that the contemporary warrior art, it doesn't matter what school you try to discuss, the contemporary warrior art means actually the art of winning over the other person's body. Because you know, when any kind of person who also has the body as his part, you know, the person doesn't consist of only body part system. So the person who pulls down, who pulls dependent over the speeds, they crush his body. So the art of crushing someone else's body is the notion of the warrior art in today's contemporary perception of the average person. So what's the meaning of it? The meaning is shown over the instrument of natural hierarchy of God's creation. So let's move on according to our research. So as far as we judge right now, the armor took place in the period in the 4th period of degradation, but there are some more periods. So let's switch to the 3rd period of degradation. Here, as far as you may see, we have such a phenomenon as the resonator. So certain appliances that had the resonating power that could be used specifically by any kind of person were called the resonators. They first took its place according to the 3rd period of degradation. As far as it's known in the history, the resonating appliance is that appliance that is used in order to reinforce the power of the spirit. So, you know, any human system doesn't consist of his body only. Any human system consists of the spirit as well. So the spirit is that part of human system that has the power. Anything else doesn't have. So in order to reinforce the power of your spirit, in case you do not know enough or have enough, something like that, you need certain appliance. So according to the 3rd period of degradation, such appliance appeared and it was called the resonator. So after all, after certain centuries took place, the resonator turned into the armor. Because you know, according to the other periods of degradation, according to the first, well, there was no degradation at all. According to the second, there were no resonators and there were no armors. There were, let me say, just several appliances that were used in order to protect yourself. Like the first knife that had just appeared, it was the priest knife that was used by the priesthood. It wasn't used in order to apply it for some physical, it wasn't used for cutting something physical material, it was used for the other sakes. So the name of this priest knife was gelba. Gelba is that specific historical armor and artifact that right now is not found on the earth. But as far as we know, gelba was as long as the distance between the tip of your middle finger up to the elbow, so it's 1 arm long. So you know, different priests had different, all people have different arms. That's why all knives, any kind of gelba, was made specifically for any kind of separate person. Like they took the merits of his arm and made gelba. After all, when the priest knife was transformed during the centuries, during the loss of capabilities, it was prolonged. Like the 2-arm long knife turned into a sword. There were, even if you remember, 3-arm long swords. So everything was prolonged out of the knife, it appeared into a sword. So here, once again, let's switch to the 3rd period of degradation. As far as we know from the methodology of Slavic appraising, here we deal on the level of Kulachny. So according to the level of Kulachny, this is such a level of warrior system when we fight together with a shield and with a sword. So this is that very level where the knife appeared and turned into a sword, either in 2-arm long sword or a 3-arm long sword. So once again, by substitution of these pieces of information, by by substitution of the instruments, we see that certainly all these armors didn't appear out of nowhere. They took its place from the other periods of degradation that we descended throughout the centuries. And of course, the armor took its place and took its origin out of resonators. Now, according to the earliest periods of degradation, there were no armoring in our today's perception of the meaning of the word armoring, and there was no warrior system as we think today of it. That's the main idea is in the fact that according to some ancient reptiles such as Bhagavad Gita, there were different people and they all had different levels of capability. They all had different levels of power and they used their capabilities according to the level of power as well. So according to these books and according to the other historical facts and notions, we consider that the main idea is in the fact all people were subdivided into 4 layers, even in that ancient period of times. Even right now, in today's 21st century, there is still such subdivision of people. Like there are 4 layers. You can just switch to the science of India, to the standard of living of India, both in ancient and both contemporary, when there are 4 groups of people, 4 castes, as they say, like the caste, the priesthood caste, the highest one, then the warrior layer takes place, then the layer of public leaders goes, and the final one is such a layer, caste of untouchables. You know, by the untouchables, by Kshatriya were meant such people who actually were capable of almost nothing apart from some kind of physical world. They were just like idiots, totally crazy, who lacked any kind of capabilities, just crazy people who were living for no sake at all. So even right now you may see that still there are these 4 layers of people. They are present: priesthood layer, warrior layer, public leader layer, and the layer of these untouchables, of these idiots. So by saying idiots, I do not need to offend someone, but still it's just some kind of historical note. So according to some periods of degradation that were all earlier, it's quite clearly seen that no need of armoring was necessary. There was no necessity for the priesthood, for the warriors, and for the public leaders. It was just that level of time that caused the appearance of the things. Like, let's start from the second period. If we are trying to build these 4 layers of people one by one gradually as they appeared in the history. So here we deal with the priesthood. The next, the third period, deals with the warrior layer, whilst the third one, the layer of public leaders, caused the appearance of some kind of weapon. Because the level of capacity of public leaders and the level of capacity of priesthood or warrior, they vary so much due to the diversity of capabilities that these public leaders needed something in order to feel stronger, in order to feel more powerful, in order to take something out of the warriors and priesthoods. That's why they had to invent something, like they had to invent the resonator, but in case they couldn't use the resonator due to the lack of capability, they turned the resonator into the armoring. And that's that period of time out of which all the swords and the other weapons firstly appeared in the history time. So once again, here we deal with such a notion when people are looking for the advantages, and by the advantages they invent, they create new armory. Sometimes it's done for the sake of protecting yourself, whilst sometimes it's done for the sake of trying to win, of trying to make a war. The war takes place when 2 sides do not feel any consent as against each other. Some side wants to tear the other spies apart, whilst sometimes people just invent some kind of weapon, like let me say nuclear bomb, and they start applying this weapon like a nuclear bomb, not because they do not feel contented or not because they need something. They just want to be the first, they want to be the leaders, they want to govern the whole world. That's why they invented the nuclear weapon and without any doubt try to use it. Whilst the other side, of course, is not contented with a nuclear weapon appliance. That's why it tries to invent something bigger, something more powerful. And you know, there are some crazy people who never stop until they invent this very thing, especially when we're dealing with Slavic people, you know. In case they have the aim, they'll reach the aim, they'll reach the target exactly, and there will be 3 much more powerful nuclear bomb finally. But since that's the fact that takes its place in the history and unpacks on the basis of knowledge of the capabilities and degradation level, that's the way in which they all appeared. We can find a certain source out of which this phenomena took its place. Like there is the leader, the founder of the karate branch, Gitina Hinokoshi. So here we may judge quite absolutely that there is one person who is the founder, who took the knowledge and on the basis of the knowledge constructed, or he was given with a certain pieces of warrior's art that all together was inclined into the karate and warrior art. So here we're dealing with the approach coming out of terminal, out of a person. Let me say one person who created the whole branch. Whilst when we try to take some other approaches, here we see that actually there aren't any scientists, almost any, who are eager to find some other things, some other sources. Like, you know, no one tries to look to screw out certain principles of neurophysiology in order to see why certain schools take place. No one tries to go higher, ascend to the third or fourth period degradation, or to see what happened over there, because no one has enough instruments and systems in order to find all these criteria. Because, you know, in order to sit with linear with a certain instrument to find something, first of all, you have to be quite determined, you have to be eager to reach your aim on the one hand, whilst on the other hand, you have to know how to do that. And because there is no answer to the how, we are dealing with this problem. So, first of all, there is certain set of instruments and there is certain science that helps to find out the questions, even to the answers even to such questions. And the main idea of the appearance of various branches of warrior art take its place in the most ancient times that we can just imagine. That is, first of all, in order to see what happens and why we're dealing here just with the physical side of warrior art, we first of all have to know that there is some kind of unphysical side, like the no contact side. And here, when we are dealing with a no contact work, we need certain classification and we need certain idea of the way in which it could be diversified and classified finally. And of course there is such a person, there is such a scientist who is standing right now here, Oleg Maltsev, who is a doctor of Slavic Aplied Science, and he was the first scientist who classified all these no contact work levels. And right now, according to our instrument that we use almost everywhere, it's a universal instrument of the hierarchy of God creation, we'll try to classify all no-contact work once again. So, the highest level that took its place far, far away, let me say in the first period of degradation when there was no degradation at all. So the first layer could be the first layer could be named as the order or like the command. Like, you know, when the person just gives one command and the task is finished, it's everything solved. Like, let's take the task of someone has a headache, you know, it's just a usual headache. The other person who knows how to deal with order gives one order or just stretches his fingers and everything's okay. The headache is over and the person is healthy. So there are such people who are capable of that fact. Actually, frankly speaking, there are lots of people sitting here who all saw during the third year time that all the time when Mr. Maltsev came to a real person and he asked him to help, actually by the command there was no headache actually. So that's the thing to consider. When we're talking about the origin of warrior art, let's check out the conclusions by the substitution of different pieces of knowledge. That is, first of all, it's quite obvious that right now we may judge that all the warrior arts that appeared here in the fourth period of degradation took their origin out of the first period of degradation, out of the no contact work. So let's check once again these conclusions and let's see whether these conclusions are correct or not on the basis of the example that are connected with contemporary religions. So once again, we're dealing with a measuring instrument of the natural hierarchy of caste creation. Here, all the religions take place on the energetic part of the natural hierarchy of God's creation. So first of all, when the science, when the knowledge transformed into the religion, they spread into 8 its parts according to the 8 levels of energetic part. Like, according to the level of desire here, this level corresponds to the religion of Buddhism. Actually, Buddhism is not religion, it's the certain way in which they perceive the world. The second branch that takes place corresponds to the level of interest. This is the place out of which the Christianity appeared. The third layer is connected with the action layer. Here we have the religion of Hinduism. The next one that's connected with the counter-reaction level, it's the Muslim religion. The next one we're descending, you see, according to the descendants of the energetic part, according to the level of consent. Here we're dealing with Muslim religion. According to the level of notion exchange, we're dealing with Diocesan. To the automatic level, we'll have the substitution of Confucian doctrine, whilst to the material, we should say here we're dealing with shamanism. According to the Shamanians, there is one interesting piece of knowledge, like as far as the word shaman is concerned, actually this word is not some kind of Eastern or something like that. When you switch to the German language, to the contemporary German language, you know that man in German is man. Whilst when we deal with the first syllable of sha, here we mean that that man, tries to ascend according to his capacity level by the rule of natural God's hierarchy to the stature that's godlike. So here, actually, we see the way in which such, let me say, quite capable, high-leveled creature transformed into very low-leveled creature of shaman due to the contribution due to the mixture of languages. By the way, by the mixture of languages, here we deal with the German that took its origin out of the the mixture of Turkish and Slavic Russian, and so on and so forth. So here we see that all these things, they transformed, they took its origin from the much higher upstanding levels. And by the transformation especially, we can check whether certain parts which are present right now took really place out of the third or the fourth periods of degradation. Here, according to the knowledge of Slavic upraising system, we know that the level of Kulachno stands to the level of resonators, to the third level of period. By the way, by the levels, we do not mean these lines. Actually, all people perceive the world just like in a distance, in a line, in a horizontal way, like the distance between me and, let me say, Mr. Maltsev. They do not perceive the world in some other notion, so we're always dealing with distances. So, here, when we deal with the level of Kulachno, the level of fisticuffs, we should know that it transformed, it descended, and transformed into some other contemporary warrior schools and warrior doctrines. So, it's not a line, it's a whole diapason. So here, the diapason of Kulachno stands in here, in this diapason. So, when it was switching, when it was transforming, it finally transformed up to the level of counter-reaction, up to the level of Judaism. And that could be proved right now, because as far as Judaism is concerned, it's connected straightforwardly with certain warrior systems. So here you may see that actually, as the spiritual world pays certain contradiction towards the physical world, we may take these four levels and just like apply them in controversial, like vice versa. So for here and for here. So starting from the level of the Lopatiuk system, we have four parts here and four parts here. So this is the diapason in which the Kulachno level transformed up to the Judaism level of counter-reaction. So these are some more pieces of information that take its place directly, specifically on the rule of natural hierarchy of God's creation, and prove that actually lots of systems took place out of these levels, extremely up to the level of third period of degradation level and the no contact work. By the way, by the no contact work, here we're dealing with a resonating and energetic mixture of no contact work. So once again, it's still more proving information as for all this degradation origin.
Мелок. Сюда подходи ко мне. Мелок.
performance of various arts, first of all, we deal with certain problems that cause the appearance of this art. So the problem is the crush of such mind system that has the name of Variator. So there is such system in the mind machinery that reproduces, and its main function is to reproduce certain variants of task implementation. So in case the person has lost some kind of spiritual sight, he doesn't see different variants, he can't produce all these variants according to his Variator, still he has no variants of task implementation. So when we are dealing with the level of desire, see, with the level of wish, here we mean that a person feels certain desire to make something done when he has no variant. In case he had the variant, he could have done it. Like, people who know how to do something, they just have the intention of doing something. They already are aware of the fact how to do that. So they go and do. That's it. Whilst in case when a person doesn't have such a variant, he is either trying to push away the task in order not to do anything at all, or trying to look for any kind of person who is capable of giving him the variant of task implementation. So here, according to the level of desire, we deal with such an approach that stands for the person, for the people, or let me say for the master. If we're dealing with warrior system, let's take the notion of master. There is such a big boss like a master who is aware of lots of variants, and maybe 1, 2, or 3, or even more, he can give you right. So you're trying to look for that master to take all these variants, and this is that terminal, the master, who still has some variants. Whilst when we're descending over the degradation, here, let's switch to the level of action. As far as you know, the level of action is connected with the imitation process. That is, when we didn't know how to do something, we try to look for and imitate for that very something. Here, we deal with certain imitative styles. Like, in old Chinese movies, there are different imitative styles, like the style of the fighting style of monkey, or the fighting style of some insect, or the fighting style of panda even. There are lots of them. So they appeared on the fixed level of degradation, on the level of action, when people were copying each other and adopting what they saw previously according to their system. And here, in case they found something and adopted something, and that something was new to the rest of the people, they became the masters, because they had the variants while the other people didn't have any variants at all. So this is once again some more pieces of information helping you to check all the conclusions and to see all its origin. As you may see, certain notions took their degradation and transforming up to certain level. So we've seen that the level of gluttony transformed up to the level of Judaism, while the level of Slavic Aplied took its degradation and transformed up to the level of distance management. So here, as for the no contact work, we deal with such a system like the system of coordinate no contact work. So actually it degraded up to the level of distance management when you are managing the distances, the horizontal distances, but not the vertical, the notion. Once again, we have to switch to upstanding level of no contact work, a system that, according to the Slavic knowledge, was called Variator. So as far as Variator is concerned, Variator, this is the Slavic warrior system, right? According to the no contact work, Variator deals with the level of order, when you just give the order and everything is done. So throughout the centuries, this level transformed up to the level of the argument and rules. So up to this level, you see, according to the religion level, this is the doctrine of Confucius level. This is the level of mathematic system. This is the level when certain arguments take place. The level when people argue as against each other, when they cannot find any mutual consent. According to the argument, there are certain rules. The rules take place also in this level. So you see all these pieces of things, they substitute for the whole measuring system. So in case in the spiritual world the order makes the task saluted and it makes the task implemented. Here in the material world, the order transforms into the command, into the speech command. Here, when we're dealing with certain kind of warrior system, we see the appearance of certain rules and even lists of rules and instructions. And here we deal with such people who call themselves referees. So here, previously, according to the level of Riva, a person, a warrior, had to think only and give the order. And by the thinking order, everything was done. So here the referee gives the order, the speech order, like stop, break, fight, Hajime, Matei, and so on and so forth. So these are still orders that took their place from the first period of degradation that transformed and degraded throughout the centuries due to the loss and lack of capabilities and powers. So once again, according to the other parts of Slavic warrior art, such as Lopatiuk level and the level of struggling, once again we can apply the same principle of no contact break degradation. That is, in case we are dealing with different systems that supply the usage of the energetic no contact break, here we deal with such a level of different legacy systems. Like, our great ancestors, had left some kind of legacy knowledge. So this legacy knowledge, the system of legacy knowledge, turned into the Lopatiuk level of warrior art. That is, starting with the no degradation period, here, according to the capabilities of all people, everything was done by the eyesight. So you just, any kind of human, had a spiritual vision. He could see the whole state of things and see everything. When this capability was lost, the seeing of everything was lost also. And here, after the sight disappeared, the understanding appeared. So the understanding comes after the sight. But even after the understanding was switched away, like, certain science was hidden, certain people were killed. So after the understanding resoluted out of the century, we saw the appearance of contemporary war systems that are based on the speculation. So the range is sight, understanding, speculation. In case you do not see something, you try to understand it. In case you do not have any knowledge helping you to understand, in case you have no legacy of the answers, answering all your questions, you are trying to speculate, to work over, to think of certain ideas and notions. So here we deal with the speculating things. And here we see that the level of Lopatiuk, that is the level that's straightforwardly connected with the understanding depth zone. And here it's connected with the legacy depth zone, with knowledge. So the Lopatiuk actually, according to the lack of this knowledge, transformed into contemporary no contact work that deals with the energy. So the energetic no contact work switched into various art schools. Whilst when we're dealing with neurophysiology, when we're dealing with the level of no contact work that's based on the notion of neurophysiology, here we deal with such level like struggling. This is the level out of which all these struggling systems like boxing, so on and so forth appear. So the struggling that's based on the neurophysiology caused lots of these struggling schools. That is the way, once again, that is showing you the different no-contact work levels that, due to the loss of capabilities, transformed into the contemporary schools and contemporary martial arts systems or warrior systems, starting with the terminal master systems, up to the imitating styles, and up to the sport activities. Because the sport activity, the sporting, with all its rules and instruction, that is the last contemporary level of degradation of the old warrior art and knowledge.
Так.
legs. Make him go on balance.
Точку опоры ему забираю.
After your opponent's being caught by you, straightforwardly into a pivot. Balance and throw. So having taken one more important and very interesting notion, such as different levels of proficiency and upgrades and trainings. That is, according to the different level of training, you may vary according to your professional level. That is, according to the system of warrior art, we see that in lots of Eastern warrior arts there are certain layers of proficiency that have the name of Dan. You know, they have special belts of different color. They by coloring they show the diversity of your level of preparation. So, when any kind of art takes its place, when any kind of school appears, the master, the founder of this school, takes the one of the most high levels, the highest level, the 8th level, and he claims that in case he is the founder of the school, he is...
Черный, напиши вот черный пояс. Прочерти ему так. Черный пояс. 10-й дан. Черный пояс, 10-й дан.
So once again, when we talk about dance, the highest one is that the level of the black belt level. It's the level that upstands to the level of distance. So when we handle the distance, when we handle the speeds and stop them by certain kind of management, it means that all lower standing levels of contemporary world are handled by us as well. So here, the black belt level, the 10th dan, actually stands and contributes to the distance management level. So you see, according to this, in case you can control the distance, you can control all other lower standing levels. So here, by this figure, you may see the figure of pyramid. So the pyramid with a certain eye, you know, it's like the eye on the top of the pyramid. This is a symbol, the ancient Masonic symbol that actually means and represents that I am the person who handles the speeds. People, you know, there are such symbols on the banknotes of certain money measurements, but still, the meaning is like this. The person who knows how to handle the distances is aware of handling the other levels as well. And when the master makes some kind of school, like the karate was founded by Giteniki Nakoshi, or the Koshinkai was founded by Masatsu Oyama, they automatically take dan number 8. That is the level that claims of the variance. And the other people lower standing by the training, the other people who have no variance, they're coming to the master, who is the great master of 8th Dan level. He has lots of variance, and ask him of teaching. They say, just help me, teach me, I just want to be like you, I want to be as strong as you are, with all this, with all the things, you know. Still, having mastered all these levels, you can ascend by the 2 higher levels according to the notion, according to the hidden ancient notion of energetic no contact work, because still there is some legacy, there is some knowledge in the Eastern countries that deals with all the things. So in case you've faced this knowledge, in case you've taken it and you mastered it, you can take the higher, the black level, no, black belt level, the 10th Dan level. So as far as you may see right now, we're giving you all this information in order to let you know the way by which all these schools, doctrines, systems, branches and art were caused by the transformation and degradation of one initial knowledge system. So by the initial knowledge system, here we mean the system of Variator. So that's the Variator that unpacked throughout the centuries into all these various levels. The Variator stands for the order, no contact work. It stands for the sight. When the sight disappears, we see the depth zone of understanding, that is the legacy, the whole notion. Here the legacy is being transformed into the Slavic upraising system. When the legacy disappeared, we switched into the speculation mode. That is, we have to speculate, we have to think over different variants, to look for masters and so on and so forth, to imitate some others. So here, lots of contemporary schools take place. This is one more thing showing you in which all this initial knowledge was just degrading, it was lost. And actually the loss of the knowledge, the turning point from the understanding that zone into the speculation, it didn't happen just too much time before. It is the first thing that switched this historical part was connected with the 16th century. You can remind yourself of various facts that are connected with revolutions, with certain civil wars. As for the Russia, the Romanovs took the governorship, and so on and so forth. This is the turning point in the history that switched the understanding mode into the speculation mode. And this point turned the Slavic uptraining system into different schools and into different pieces of the schools. So the conclusion itself is very, very simple. The initial source transforms and degrades into all other pieces. The initial Variator source switched. This was the first stage. The first stage of Variator switched into the second, into the understanding mode, and then into the third one, to the speculation, contemporary mode, where we live right now. So all degradation actually was subdivided into 3 levels, and we are living in this 3rd level where all people who find some kind of variant may claim themselves the founders or the co-founders of various schools and automatically claim like they have the 8th Dan of this school, and maybe in case you'll be quite good, they could teach you of this art. Several examples showing how the system works. Let's take the most well-known in CIS territory school that has the name of its founder. His founder was the Kadishnikov, Alexei Kadishnikov. So the school of Mr. Kadishnikov is still the school that deals with these 10 levels. That first of all, as far as Mr. Kadishnikov restored the system of Okhotski uptraining level, he restored these depth zone of knowledge, this depth zone of variant art, warrior art. So according to the various levels, he made various classes, like classes corresponding to the levels of studies. And as far there were 10 such levels of studies, still we may observe these 10 levels that contribute to the depth zone from here up to the distance management level. But furthermore, this system consisting of 10 classes transformed into the 8th. Thus, Alexei Kadishnikov is actually, as he is a founder of claims whether the person stays concordant to a certain level or not. That is, he is that, let me say, master, he is that boss who claims whether you are at that level or you're not. That's why certain pieces of legacy, still here, according to this part, we're dealing with legacy, certain pieces of legacy and each notion were restored. By this, notions actually are not well aware to the majority of people. With the people who are studying in the school of Kadashnikov, they are studying according to this 8-leveled multiplied system. So actually, as far as it's seen quite vividly in the video, this system implies and puts quite huge impression and physical print over the person who uses the school. Because according to different levels, these people try to imitate, to work out separate ideas, separate gestures, separate strikes, and so on and so forth. And you may see quite vividly in the video, if you've taken that course, in the video that lots of students of Kadashnikov school, they're acting in the same manner. Their strikes are the same, their walking pace is the same, but still this system doesn't allow them to win everywhere. The system doesn't allow them to make the running attack, because this is not the system for attacking, this is the system of protecting yourself. So this is one more example of just a well-known school of Mr. Kadashnikov. There are many more, even more well-known, such as the system of Rybko, for example, the system of Mikhail Rybko. So actually, Systema is much more interesting from the level of various levels of arts, but still, as the Kadashnikov school was found according to the state governing program, still it's claimed to be one of the most popular. But here you may see that actually, even it's claimed to be very popular, very efficacious, and very vivid, it's not just the question of some kind of excessive mastership or masterpiece level. No, it's not like that, but still, because you're dealing with the same 10 low standing levels. Of course, in case you want to improve yourself, to improve your skills, all the masters, as far as you know, they were trying to improve themselves. So still, as for the path, as for the way upwards, still it's the same way for all the people from all different schools. And when we are coming from the level of distance up to the level of powers, here we are coming up to the level of the Slavic mount. There is such mount. It's used in lots of books, like in the Bible and lots of religions. Like there was a certain mount where the Moshe came in order to take 10 separate routes, And when he came over there, he met two preachers like Ilya and Moshe. So all the holy people, all people who are claimed to be holy leaders, they were the people who reached this level of preparation, who made the distance level step much behind and who took the level of power. And this level seems to be a very upstanding level, very complicated to reach. But as far as the Slavic system claims, it's still not the end, it's just half of your way, because there is still a way higher, there is still much more things to be adopted and much more things to be known by you personally in order to reach, let me say, the heaven holy state or the heaven holy kingdom. And lots of religions, lots of schools give different names and notions. By interpreting this, I want you to understand that it's like the spiritual kingdom where all these capacities are godlike and where the person is as capable as the God. So here it's quite possible, up to certain methodology, up to certain knowledge, to reach this level. But actually here we do not see too many people who reach that level, and we cannot claim whether someone reached it or not, because we do not have any measuring instrument, we do not have any ethalon. That is, in case we do not have ethalon, we have the masters who are claiming someone is good and not. That's the problem.
Ох, вы маленький. Опа! Ух!
four stages of this governing by these people. So the first stage considers the stage where the river was used by the priesthood, and it was the stage when the priesthood layer was governing all the people. When the degradation took place, we switched the second stage, coming from the second period to the fourth one, that's connected with the governorship of the warrior layer or the warrior caste. When the warrior caste was over, when all this knowledge was hidden, transformed, adopted, or even just lost by death of certain people, it came up to the level of public leaders' governorship. Certainly this is still the level where we live right now. So this level considers the deposants starting from the wishes and interests up to the consent. The others, people, I mean the untouchables, I mean all this kshatriya, all these idiots, they live in the deposit starting from the notion exchange up to the automatic level. Why are we dealing with the automatic level? Simply due to the fact that this level is straightforwardly connected with the rules. So here all the rules take place. This is the level of advocacy, of rule, of state governorship. And the public leaders are ruling all these people on the basis of rules. So for these public leaders, the rules are just like nothing. They are written not for them. They are written for the untouchables. So here once again, it's quite clearly you may see that by four stages of four castes governorship, all this system was transforming into different branches of warrior system and warrior art. Until right now, we faced different schools, different styles, and even sporting for the untouchables. Sporting that is straightforwardly standing on the basis of rules, because you can do your sporting just according to the rules. You cannot avoid these rules. So here, we're dealing with the fact that the no-concept work of order transformed and switched into all these schools that we are seeing right now. And making it quite clear, as for the levels of governorship, here we see different historical parts of governorship. So the first part, when the priesthood was governing on the basis of the initial knowledge, is the Hyperborean stage. That is the stage of Hyperborean governorship. The next thing, when the degradation took place, when the warrior system switched into separate layers, is a system that is based on the tradition.
Вот до интереса, да, это среднеатлантическая система управления.
Of the Atlantic system of governorship.
Она не атлантическая, она средняя.
This system is the Middle Atlantic tradition system
Вот, да.
that starts from the power level up to the interest level. So this is the second one. This is the system that took place when the warrior caste, the warrior layer, took the governorship. Next one that took the place starting up to the consent is connected with the third layer of people, of public leaders who took the governorship. So here it's the deposit up to consent. Whilst the last one is the deposit that's connected with the notion exchange and the automatic levels. This is the place where all people live right now. So this is
Постиндустриальное общество.
the post-industrial society, actually, society where old and modern people live.
История происхождения воинского искусства и механизмы происхождения воинского искусства на Земле.